have the resources as a civilization to find a utopia, but we're led by the most greedy, the least noble.
Please give it up for the future of hip-hop, Kanye West.
Every night I was working, every night I ain't trying to say the right answer. I am just doing what I feel.
Follow your dream. Follow your dream. And there'll be people that will hold you back and try to tell you you can never be anything.
Ka-Kafanee.
For the vast majority of Kanye's career, he's been regarded as one of the most creative and influential artists the world has ever seen. Since the start of his career, he's given the world classic after classic and has shifted music and fashion. And through his high levels of creativity, he's inspired millions in the process. And some of those millions have gone on to be some of the biggest faces we've seen in the creative world. From Virgil Abloh to Travis Scott to Tyler the Creator to Kid Cudi, Jerry Lorenzo, Mololola, just to name a few. And that still doesn't even scratch the surface of the influence that he's had throughout his career. Even for myself, while I always listened to a lot of music growing up, it wasn't until graduation when I heard Big Brother is when I fell in love with Kanye's music. And since that moment, he's always remained a major inspiration throughout my entire life. Even though I draw from a long list of inspirations from TV, film, music, art, fashion, Kanye's inspiration has always been unmatched. Regardless if it came from the music, the stage designs, the clothes, the interviews, or simply just the drive, passion, and confidence to go after whatever I dream of.
Is there any limit to your ambition?
No.
Or any limit to what you think you can achieve?
No.
And him possessing such a high level of confidence in himself has allowed him to push himself to new heights time after time, even in the face of adversity and people doubting him. But with every doubt and hurdle he's overcame throughout his career, one thing has always been true. His ego has gotten bigger and bigger as the years have grown. And it's no secret that throughout his career, he's always had a really big ego. In the same way that his career has grown to new heights, his ego has grown to new heights as well. Even during the early years of his career, his late mother Donda West tried to warn him about his own ego.
Going to remember that the giant looks in the mirror and sees nothing.
And while the words that she shared with her son may have been helpful to him at that time, the Kanye, or better yet the Ye that we have today, doesn't live by those words or probably even have them in his head at all.
Y'all took all that position, you gave the other niggas my position, coach. Ain't nobody king over me.
The Ye that the world has today is almost a night and day image of what he was before and what he stood for before. Throughout the fame and success and even his growing ego, he's always remained very adamant about pushing the world forward.
Vision building a city of the future, an infinite city that can constantly grow.
And making the people of the world believe in themselves in the way that he does.
You believe in yourself? Do you believe in yourself?
And we witnessed him push that vision a lot during his Wyoming era when he was living in Wyoming on a farm that he owned, plans to make it a creative campus, with the big focuses on sustainability when it came to food and clothing, while also having plans to develop schools, which are all amazing plans. The main problem was that during this time, we also seen Kanye start to unravel as a person more and more in ways we've never seen him do before. And while the passing of his mom in 2007 definitely played a major role in Kanye changing as a person, it wasn't until 2016 when we seen Kanye really start to spiral out of control. On November 20th, 2016, during his St. Pablo tour in Sacramento, where he showed up to the concert multiple hours late, brought out Kid Cudi to perform, did one or two other songs, and then he went on a 15-minute long rant about politics, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Drake, Obama, Hillary Clinton, Mark Zuckerberg, and then Donald Trump.
Tell you something, MTV, fuck you! Once again, as always, I'm on my Trump shit tonight!
I honestly took that moment a little bit personal because I was actually there at the show, and realistically, if he wanted to air all that information out, he could have just said that on Twitter, like he's done with numerous rants prior to that. Not long after that, he was actually admitted to UCLA Medical Center for temporary psychosis, which stemmed from sleep deprivation and extreme dehydration. And after going to the hospital, he was never really the same after that. After being hospitalized, Kanye openly admitted he lost his confidence. And this is also where his ego comes back into play. When someone develops a really big ego, either subconsciously or consciously, their ego becomes attached to their self-identity.
That's why I'm so feared. That's why they feared me when I was in the ring, because that's all I was an annihilator. That's all I was born for. And now those days are gone. It's empty. I'm nothing.
I'm working on being the art of humbleness. Can you believe in me? That's the reason why I'm crying, because I'm not that person no more.
So on the surface level, while his confidence took a major toll and was broken, the problem was actually much deeper because his self-identity was actually broken because it was rooted so deeply within his ego, which has never taken a hit to this extent before. After that, we slowly started to see Kanye build himself back up again, and during his time in Wyoming, Kanye seemed to be in a good space, at least creatively. When he was there, he released albums like Yay, Kids See Ghost, and Jesus Is King. He also went on to executively produce Nas's album Nasir, Pusha T's album Daytona, then Tiana Taylor's album Keep That Same Energy. During the time frame of Jesus Is King, Kanye got deep into his religion as a Christian, and the new direction he wanted to take his music. He also was holding Sunday service performances, where he was putting on performances where he played reworked versions of his past songs that were more Christian friendly with a choir that he led. Even though creatively he was in a better space, this era also came with its fair share of controversy as well. During this time, he was also still heavily endorsing Trump and campaigning to become the president as well, even having a breakdown during one of his campaign stops. He was also going through marital struggles with his then wife Kim Kardashian at the time, and they eventually divorced in January of 2021. Even before, during, and after the divorce, he was still harassing Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson, who she was dating at the time. He was also going on social media rants left and right during this time. That same year, he was also beefing heavily with Drake, and he released his 10th album, Donda.
I play Off the Grid.
We off the grid, this for my kid.
In addition to the announcement of a 10-year partnership with Gap. One of the biggest things to note about this whole era of like 2020 and beyond, not only do you see Kanye become more unhinged and paranoid, you also see him pulling people who aren't involved into his own personal drama, whether that be fans or even celebrities. A prime example is when Kim Kardashian threw a birthday party for their daughter, Chicago, and Kanye didn't know where it was at. He even went as far as accusing Kim of kidnapping their daughter, and eventually was able to get the location for the party from Travis Scott. And throughout the entire ordeal, he's just tweeting to the public about what's happening and giving almost like a minute by minute update. And I feel like when he did all of these different actions, especially vocalizing almost every thought on Instagram or Twitter at the time, it deepened the parasocial relationship he had between him and his fan base, who would find ways to defend him regardless of the actions that he did or the level of accountability that he wasn't taking. And from this point on, he only reached new lows. In October of 2022, Kanye tweeted that he was going to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. Even just reciting those words for the context of this video sound insane. And pretty much since that day, he's just been on an anti-Semitic tirade against Jewish people. He's had a number of interviews, podcasts, and news appearances be redacted because of anti-Semitic comments he made while filming. He's even went as far as expressing love for Hitler, and even recently claiming to be a Nazi. One thing you can always learn from Kanye is, no matter the level of creativity someone possesses, that does not mean that they're intellectual. Because there's zero reason on earth why a black man would love Hitler and want to be a Nazi. And since 2022, he's gone back and forth of apologizing, saying more anti-Semitic things, apologizing, and then saying more stuff.
I'm not gonna say what race, what people doctor, and what hospital, and what media it went to. We know I can't say that. It was a Jewish doctor.
Since starting his newer tirade on Twitter, it seemed like he's just gonna stay in this world forever. Especially because he only aligns himself with people who aren't gonna question anything that he's saying. He just wants to be around yes men. At one point in my life, I did feel bad for him because I'm like, you know what? Clearly you suffer from mental illness and you have a lot of people around you who may not be the best for you. And when you're at that level of life or magnitude of life, it would be kind of hard to have people who are genuinely wanting to be around you for you and not just for your status and your money. But at this point, I find it hard to even have sympathy for him anymore. Mainly because Kanye has access to resources that most people in the world don't have access to. So him not utilizing the resources that he has or even getting help just seems like he does it as a choice.
Do you believe in the medication?
It's finding stuff that doesn't block the creativity. Obviously, that's what I bring to the world. You know, it's worth a ramp up.
Yeah.
As long as y'all get the creativity, like.
After the release of Donda and Kanye losing all his sponsorship deals from Balenciaga, Adidas, and Gap, Kanye's creative ability simply isn't the same. It's nowhere near where it was before. And Vultures 1 and 2 and the accompanying listening parties really show that. Both albums went through very sloppy rollouts, and while visually the listening parties were pretty good, and I even went to one last year, overall the effort for them was pretty lazy. So for myself, I don't really think the ramp-ups are worth the creativity that he outputs anymore. Even on Vultures 2, we saw Kanye start using AI in songs, and that AI was used pretty sloppy. So when he confirmed his upcoming album Bully will be made with AI, it doesn't really leave an exciting feeling. It just feels like he's taking out the heart and the soul of the music that people fell in love with. And when you combine that with all the hatred he's just been spewing on the internet over the past few weeks, from constantly attacking Jewish people, defending Diddy and R. Kelly, and even admitting to abusing women, you quickly realize that the path Kanye is leading himself down only leads to more self-destruction. And due to only having people around him who agree with everything he says or does, he doesn't have anyone around him to really tell him when he's in the wrong. And even if he did, he wouldn't listen to them. He's even admitted recently when people ask him to do one thing, he just immediately wants to do the opposite.
And then when people tell you to not do it, you just get on that one point. And that's my problem when fans tell me to do my album a certain way. I'll do it the opposite way just because la la, I got my money, right?
Well, that's definitely something that's always been true about Kanye. We're seeing it on a very hyper level now. We witnessed years ago when Kanye was beefing with Diddy and calling him out all the time, to now seeing Kanye defend Diddy and his actions, and even releasing a Yeezy Sean John collab. For the bulk of Kanye's career, he's always seen his ego as a superpower, and that superpower has allowed him to reach for greatness and grab it. But since his mental breakdown in 2016, that same ego that drove him to greatness is now betraying him, and this downward spiral has only led him to unravel more and more as a person. And with Kanye being such a big artist, he still has fans that will support any and everything he does. Even in the past few weeks when he's released swastika and White Lives Matter shirts, people have been buying those shirts and making him millions of dollars, which is only fueling his ego more and more and making it so he doesn't feel the consequences of what he's doing. And those who still support him may justify that because of the past work he's done. But I think in some cases, the art doesn't need to be separated from the artist, especially when the art doesn't really serve a purpose anymore. These are just my thoughts. Are you excited for Bully, and how do you feel about Kanye's new direction and what he's been doing recently? And if you liked the video, as always, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
And it'll be a long time before you ever see me again.
Ka-Kafanee.